As a child, I loved playing basketball and competitive swimming, and I was good at it too. I was driven to be the best and always played with the passion to win. I played high school and college basketball and eventually obtained my Juris Doctor and graduated summa cum laude and Graduate of the Year from Oklahoma City University Law School. And when the WNBA began in 1997, it triggered something inside of me. I knew that I needed to merge my practice as an attorney with my passion for sports. I began as the first Associate General Counsel for the Phoenix Suns NBA team, and this put me on a path that would eventually lead me to hold various positions for both the Suns and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I was eventually promoted to Executive Vice President and Chief Legal Officer for the Diamondbacks, a Major League Baseball team I had come to know and love. This might sound like a wonderful story of a life well lived, but it's not the truth. Or at least it's not the whole truth. It was an interesting childhood. I grew up in a home where we were loved very deeply, but we were protected. We were taught the value of hard work and of responsibility and doing the right thing. We also would have some fun too. We played together, my dad, my sister, and I quite a bit. I have an older brother as well, but he was raised in Natchez, Mississippi. When I was young, I would go spend the summers in Natchez, Mississippi, and when I was 6 years old, we were playing in my grandmother's front yard, and I remember my sister and some of my cousins being there, and all of a sudden, my grandmother just came out, running out of the house, screaming, and I saw the KKK marching down the street. Some were on horseback, some were walking, but they were all hooded, and they were walking down Jefferson Street. When I was 6 years old, my grandmother came and grabbed us so that we didn't get hurt. I remember our family trips to Natchez, Mississippi when I was a baby. And this was before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. And there were still colored restrooms and white only. And my mother wouldn't let us go in those restrooms because they were filthy. So she made us use the grass. And just that feeling of why am I less than? Why am I viewed as less than? There were so many things over my lifetime, starting with childhood. Playing basketball was life-changing for me because I grew up at a time when the expectations weren't necessarily great for women, especially for, young girls growing up in a Black family. So basketball was where I found my power, and I found my leadership, and I found my voice. Playing basketball also helped in the sense of learning how to juggle a lot, which is something that you have to be able to do as a lawyer in particular. If I hadn't played sports, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'd been intrigued by the law always, and was a little reluctant because I didn't like lawyers. So it was a little bit of a struggle for me to get there. What helped was some things that I saw going on and that I felt were not right. I also felt part of that was that people from historically underrepresented groups often were taken advantage of by the legal system or lost in the legal system. And so for me, it was wanting to be an advocate for people who couldn't always advocate for themselves. When I started at the Diamondbacks, there weren't a lot of people who looked like me, but that was generally the story of my life. So I went about living my dream. It really became a wonderful place to work. That being said, the stats weren't great. I was the first Black executive at the Arizona Diamondbacks when I was vice president and general counsel there. And when I left there, I was the last. While I felt welcome and I had a good experience personally, because of the stats I just told you about, there was no one else coming. Everyone needs to move towards inclusion. and a culture of inclusion. That's the bottom line, because that is what the upcoming generations want. And they're moving into positions of power, and organizations will be left behind. They'll become irrelevant, and they'll be reacting if they don't start to keep up and make those changes now. My hope for Truth DEI is to be able to inspire people to change, to educate them. First of all, you have to be honest about where you are. What are your biases? Starting from that point of truthfulness, helping people move to a place of transformative change. My long-term hope for Truth DEI is, wouldn't it be wonderful if no one needed us?